This conference will now be recorded.
So very good morning team and very good evening. I think I'm having some participants from both EST and IST time zone and might be from CST too. So team, we are from Team Tectarian. We are here today to give a small demonstration on the upcoming batch for the API automation. So team, basically we are starting this API automation batch. The main reason behind starting this API automation batch is the demand that is increasing day by day. Since you are currently, I'm believing that you are all from the QA industry. And since being from a QA industry, you must be getting some emails from the new openings out there in the industry, right? So whenever you find a new opening, so you must be seeing these days that they are finding a person who's having multiple skills. So they are looking for a person that's having API testing knowledge, that's having UI testing knowledge, either through Selenium, either through Protractor, either through APM. So they're looking for multi-talented person or multi-skilled person, I would say. So what they are believing is that because these are technologies that could be easily done by a single person, right? So they don't need different person to manage all the different skill set. So they can take easily the work from a single person only. So the team, the main reason for me to start this batch is to help the people out there who want to just give a switch to another company wherever they're looking for a switch. So whenever you'll be looking for a switch, they'll be expecting multiple technologies from you, multiple skill sets from you, right? So over here, we'll be teaching you another skill set that's called API testing. Till now, team, there was a boom in the market where everyone was looking for Selenium testing or APM testing, right? But API testing was there for a longer time, but that was not in a boom. But team, now it's getting a lot of boom these days. It's being asked by a lot of industries. Many companies are sending out job descriptions in which they are clearly mentioning the requirement as they need a person. Okay, sorry, I think team, are you able to hear me first of all? I think Sachin is not able to hear me.
Yes.
I'm audible. Sachin,
Yes.
can you just join once more? I think people are able to hear me. So we just started. You can just join once more. Just log out and log in once again. I think it will be fine for you. So yeah, team, I was like telling you. So till now, we were seeing an openings in the market that was saying that we need Selenium, person with Selenium knowledge only, who has Selenium knowledge along with Java and some framework designing capability. But these days, job descriptions are coming as a person who's having knowledge with Selenium along with Java, then along with APM and API testing too, with some database testing. So you see, they are looking for end-to-end person. And team, recently there are some technologies that are coming into boom again these days. So they are even looking for a person who's into QA, who must be able to do testing as well as play a role for the DevOps. So they are looking for a person who can work on the in the both the fields as well as testing and as well as the DevOps. Team, you must have been hearing different tools these days like AWS, Docker, Kubernetes, right? So different tools are coming into market and different companies are asking different personalities out there in the market, hey, do you have knowledge on various tools? So team, the main reason for us is to help people out there who can learn API testing. So team, API testing is not difficult at all, but it's just that we have never observed it. We have never gone in deep to it. We know what are APIs, but we don't know exactly how do they work, right? What's the main purpose of API? Why do we use APIs? And how can we automate those APIs, right? So team, now in this particular section, we'll be having a proper detailed discussion for the APIs, like how to test APIs, how to work on APIs. So we'll be discussing each and everything in this coming section. So team, one of the advantages that you'll be getting over here by taking training from us is since we all are working professionals, we are working in different multinational companies out here. So we will be giving you real experience from the real industry, what actually happens in the real industry with some real-time APIs. So team, I think most of you must have gone through some Selenium testing also, right? Whenever we take some training, so we don't have any much applications to train you upon. We just take samples from the internet. So again, team, we'll be taking some samples again from internet, but they will be the actual applications that you are using in your organization. Let's take an example of Jira. I believe if you're from the QA industry, then you must have used Jira, right?
Yes.
So Correct. So Jira is a tool that is mostly being used by many companies these days to log their bugs. So team, we even use Jira these days to even automate. So I will be showing you end-to-end automation of Jira APIs also. So we won't be needing to open Jira tool anyhow. We will be automating, or we will be logging a defect, verifying a defect, adding comments, removing comments. Everything that we used to do from the UI, we'll be doing that with the help of API. So team, that happens. So we know what exactly happens when a when an automation process takes place. So let me just open my notepad. I will demonstrate over there. So team, I hope my screen is visible, right? Notepad is visible to all. So team, when we talk about automation not only involves UI automation, okay? It involves even the backend automation too. So team, let's take an instance. Whenever you see some UI defects, correct? What happens when you observe some UI defects in automation? So then you go manually log a defect in Jira or log a defect in any of the defect management tool. Am I right?
Yeah.
But team, actually, you know what? When we're working into actual industry, when we're working into multiple organizations or bigger organizations, let's talk about Netflix. So team, once a defect is found out, once a defect is there in front of us, defect in automation, UI automation, okay? So they don't even log in into Jira. Everything is done automatically. Sachin, just let me type. Okay, just wait on. I think Sachin not able to hear me. Sachin, please join her. Yeah, team. So I was telling you, so once we found out defect in the UI automation, the process that we usually follow in many organizations are that once a defect is found in UI automation, then we directly open the Jira APIs. We authenticate, we log in directly in the Jira APIs. We don't go anywhere into the UI. We do everything with the help of Jira API. So we have some authentication that I'll be showing you in the coming sections. So in the batch that we'll be working on, we'll be working on different kind of authentications. So I'm telling you what happens over there. So end-to-end process, starting from finding a defect. First of all, we'll run the automation test for the UI. Then once we find a defect in UI, we'll even log that defect into Jira dashboard automatically with the help of automated test scripts of Jira. So team, these all things could be done easily with the help of Rest Assured, right team? And team, basically, why is there a need? So team, there is always a question that why is there a need for API testing? So team, can someone answer me this question? Why do we exactly need API testing?
Because the UI maybe different company uses different UI, but the API may be same for all.
Okay, that's one of the reason.
Functionality, yeah. So we need to test the API instead of the UI part. So
Okay.
API testing come in that part.
Okay. Anyone else wants to try, team? Okay, so I'll just give a brief definition. Why do we exactly require it? So team, you must be knowing that UI.
Hello.
Yeah, Sachin, go ahead.
Yeah, using API testing, we can verify if we are getting the expected response or not from the other side.
True, that's totally true. So team, what exactly happens in API testing is, so as we all know, we have been working in multiple companies right now. The UI or the website or the mobile application gets developed lately, correct? But before that, even backend is ready. Do you all agree? So backends get developed first of all, then the UI gets developed. So what happens, team, is once the backend is developed, now how will we be testing the backend? How will we be testing the different responses? What have we configured over there? So what we do is that we try to test the backend first, so that most of the defects that could be occurring in the UI later on could be minimized initially in the API testing phase. So we don't wait for the UI to be developed. We start our initial testing with the APIs that have been developed, so that we could minimize the defects that might arise in the UI testing. So team, that's one of the major advantage that API testing gives us. so that we could minimize the number of defects that might come up for us in UI testing. Okay, team, so team, that's one of the major advantage that you will be seeing. But yeah, as you suggested, that to verify the expected response, whether we're getting the exact response from the backend or not, that's one of the reason. Secondly, that another reason that we could take is that one API might be responsible for different UIs, right? So we could test one single API and can verify that the expected thing will be there in the different UI applications. So there are multiple reasons, but the main reason is to minimize the number of defects that might come up in the UI testing. Minimize the number of defects that might come up in UI testing. Okay, team, so that's one of the reasons that we will be doing this API testing. And now, team, talking about the section. So what exactly are we going to cover in this section? Now we'll be discussing about that. So team, initially what we'll be covering is, so initially in the initial days, like 1 or 2 days, I think in the one day only, we'll be going through some detailed discussion about the APIs. About APIs, something like theory. What is API, right? Then how does API work? API working. A brief introduction about API testing. How we'll be testing API? What is the reason of API testing actually? Okay, so team, we'll be looking into those all aspects. Then we'll try to understand different kinds of APIs. So team, you must have heard about different kind of APIs, right? That's REST API or SOAP API. Understand? REST or SOAP APIs. So team, there are multiple kinds of API out there in the market. That's called REST or SOAP APIs. And recently, team, there's another API that is being developed by Facebook. That's called GraphQL. I don't know if you have heard about it or not. So that's another kind of APIs that have been developed by Facebook, and many industries have adopted it already. So that's being used out there in the market. So that's an API that's being developed by the Facebook. So team, till now I've been talking about API and API, but I have not told you anything about API, right? What exactly is API? So team, if you could just see this diagram over here. So team, API is nothing but it's a middle instance, a middleman, okay, a middle person who is helping to initiate or make effective communication between two parties. And what are two parties over here? One is the database from which actually we are receiving or sending the data to, and then another point is, or the other point over here is the applications. So team, as a user, whenever we try to access something, right? So we have a mobile device in our phone, or we check something on the mobile browser or on the web laptop browser, right? Anything. So we have some different devices with us that helps us to view a UI. But team, that's only a UI. Everything that's there that you see comes up from the backend. That's from the databases. Nothing is there from the UI itself. Everything that is being shown to you is being shown to you with the help of these databases. So team, how does the UI, this particular application out here? So team, how does this interact with this? Okay, so how does the UI interact with the databases? So team, over here we have one of the important thing that's called API. So team, API is nothing. API is a middleman that's helping us to make an interaction between the two endpoints. That's the databases and the UI devices. So API is a middleman that's helping to make a proper communication, which will send a request and which will receive a response. So each and everything will be done, team. So let's say I want to open facebook.com, okay? Whenever I open facebook.com, I enter my credentials. So team, how does the Facebook evaluate that I'm a legit user, I'm an authenticated user, I'm not a fake user, right? So what it does, it whenever I type my username over here, it sends a request. So request is carried forward with the help of APIs. So we hit an API, that's an authentication API, and the authentication API in return contacts a database. It checks whether that particular value exists in database or not. So let's see Tectarian value exists in the SQL database or not. If this value exists, then this will give a success response to API, and it will allow the user to authenticate, and successfully I will be shown my home page. But if it gives another failure response, then it will tell, hey, the user is not correct, please try again. So team, all these things happens again with the help of API. So API is the main central point of interaction for us, which helps in effective communication in both the ends. Fine, team? Any questions on that for me?
No.
No, nothing so far.
Okay, perfect. So team, at any point of time, if you have any questions, just talk me over there and we can discuss on it, okay? Now team, I talked about different kind of APIs, right? So now team, we'll be even learning about different things like previously team, I'll just give you a previous past history of APIs. So team, many of the companies in the past were using SOAP APIs. Now many of the companies, but they are moving to REST APIs. Team, this is a very important question for the interviews that we'll be discussing in the session. Why exactly they are moving to REST APIs? What's the reason behind of them moving to REST APIs? Okay, team. So we'll be discussing all these points in the coming sections to get a detailed idea. You know, team, when I went for different interviews, these were the questions that were asked to me. So I'm trying to help you out with those similar questions as well, so that whenever you face similar kind of situation, so you could answer those questions in a better manner. Okay, and along with that, I missed one point. Sorry.
Is RESTful also an API? I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
So it's TJ. TJ.
Okay.
It's yeah.
So how is, I mean, that is also similar like this SOAP and REST, right?
So SOAP, I'll just tell a very basic difference over here. SOAP accepts or works only on XML responses, but the REST APIs work on different kind of response or request. JSON response, XML response, they're different things. That's a very basic difference I'm telling you, but there are many more differences. Another difference is that SOAP is very heavy in nature and REST is very lighter in nature. So that's a very higher definition. I'll tell you why it's light and why it's heavy. What all different parameters are there? Why are the different organizations are using REST instead of SOAP now? So you know, team, let's talk about different applications. So there are still some applications out there. I don't know. So there are some applications out there that still are using the SOAP APIs. They are, but slowly they're transitioning themselves from the REST SOAP APIs to REST API because it's easy for them to manage the REST APIs as in comparison to the SOAP APIs. So basically, team, what happens over here is
actually my question was like a lot of time I've heard this word RESTful. So is it same as REST API or it is something else?
Yeah, it's same. Sorry, it's same. I got misconfused. Yeah, it's similar to REST API.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, team. So next thing that team will be learning about is I don't know if you have heard about one concept that's very much there out there in LinkedIn, Facebook, every groups over there, microservices. So everyone is talking about microservices, but no one's know exactly what are microservices. Okay, team. And there's another kind of API that's called monolith. So team, monolith is the past, but microservices is the present that we are working on. Currently, even many companies are working on the monolith observation, monolith concept, but people are transforming themselves to microservices. So I'll just give you a small example out here. So let's take a very small example of like google.com only, okay? So right now, team, what happens? Google, whenever you log in onto google.com, right? So first of all, you see a sign-in page, correct? Then you see something called your inbox. And if you're buying something, then you see something called as payment gateway. I'm just giving you a very big example out here, but you see some instances over there in Google, right? So team, what's happening out there in monolith approach? Everything that you're seeing over here is being maintained by Google itself. They are tightly coupled. They are interdependent on each another. So everything, every code has been developed inside the organization itself. So they are managing each and everything. So it might happen that let's say if in future I make some changes to sign in module, right? Then I will have to verify or test all the different modules over there again. So it's like it's not independent, but it is dependent on each another. So whenever I make a change to any of the module, I will be having to test each and every module. But the microservices, let's share a microservice example. Now, team, whenever you log in into, I say, do you know like a website where you can book your hotels? Booking.com, there's a website, or you can say Make My Trip. That's an Indian website. So you see an option over there that says as sign in with Google. Correct? Then you see your account, that's a dashboard. Then at the end, you see a payment gateway. Correct, team? So now, team, what happens over here is, now, team, we have differentiated, we have separated all these services separately now. Now we are managing these three things separately. So what happens these days, Google is offering an authentication token. So Google is offering an authentication mechanism that's helping us to use their services to authenticate into our own website. So we can use Google APIs over here. Rather than using our own APIs, we'll be directly using the Google APIs. So we don't have to manage this anyhow. We'll be only managing the dashboard out here. That's because that's our own personal entity. So this is in-house developed. Lastly, team, a payment gateway. So previously payment was even managed by Google itself, but right now, team, you must have observed that there are different payment gateways out there, like PayPal, Visa, debit. So multiple payment gateways you could see out there, like Pioneer. So what will happen now, instead of managing the payment gateway also, we'll be using third-party services, the third-party APIs again. That will be helping us to manage all these particular approaches. So team, if we just see now the difference, previously we were managing, we have to test each and every component out there, even if we made some changes in a single component. But team, let's talk about over here. These all are independent of each another. So whenever I have to give a test, I will be performing only a small unit test. I will be performing only small functional testing over here. Because this is managed by Google, I don't need to take any tension out here, right? But this thing I will be testing properly. So this will be tested, unit tested, and even integration testing over here. Lastly, in payment gateway. So this is again even managed by third party. So that means I don't even need to fear again. I can use the services directly. That's again called payment gateway, team. That will be managed by third parties. So team, you can see now the difference between monolith and microservices. Microservices are independent in nature, and they could be easily managed as compared to monolith services. Now, if there's some change in any of the module, we don't need to test whole application. We can just test the particular module because we know that they won't be affecting each another anyhow. Team, again, we'll be discussing many more details about this with proper stories. I have some stories for you in which we'll be discussing this thing to make it much more clearer. Now, team, coming to the API thing that we'll be doing is, so team, basically API testing is of two types that we'll be seeing. One is manual testing. Other one is automation testing. Okay, team. So there are two kind of API testing that we'll be seeing in our particular sessions. So team, there are many tools out there that we could use, but since team, people are trying to work with open source tools these days. So let it be a smaller organization, a medium sector organization, or a larger sector organization. So most of the companies are trying to work out with open source tools so as to minimize the cost as much as they can do. Okay, team. So we can work with different tools to test different kinds of APIs. So we'll be learning about Postman tool in this section, this particular batch. Postman tool for testing the APIs manually, and even the SOAP UI tool. So we'll be even writing some test cases in both of the tools. So I will be even showing you some small demonstration in the tools for Postman. How can we write some automated test cases in Postman, and how can we write some automated test cases in SOAP UI as well. Okay, team. So this is basically used for testing the REST services, REST and along with SOAP services, but this is only for the SOAP services over here. Sorry, this can even be used for REST services too. My mistake. This can even be used for web services. Now, team, another part that we'll be covering, so that's the main thing that we're looking out there in the batch is automation testing. So, team, we are having different automation testing tools that are available on free source, but the most important or most used tool these days is REST Assured. That uses Java language. Okay, team, so we'll be talking about the REST Assured tool, which will be helping us to automate each and everything. So team, let's see what happens in REST Assured. I think my Postman got closed. Let me just open it. Till then, I'll just tell you. So team, what happens in REST Assured? Why are we exactly using REST Assured? So team, whatever we do testing over here in the Postman tool, let's observe it out here. Whatever we try to test out here. So team, let me just try to send this API. This is an API that I'm using over here, and this is a method that I'll be talking about. Different kinds of method will be studied during our test batch sessions. Delete, get, put, post, delete. Different kinds of method will be taught in the coming batch. So team, what I'm talking about over here is whenever we hit an API, we get a response, we get success code. We are able to see all these things with our naked eye. That's because we're testing it manually. But when we do this thing with the help of automation scripts, then we need to write some line of codes that will verify that we are getting status code as 200 or not. We are getting some particular values in it or not. So all these things need to be done there with the help of some automated scripts. So we can do that with the help of REST assured jars. So we'll be using REST assured jars over there to do the same thing. So team, for doing it, we'll be using an IDE. Most probably we'll be using Eclipse IDE. I think most of you will be already familiar with this. Then we'll be using a dependency management thing. That is used for managing all the jars and everything. So I'll be telling you what exactly is dependency management. So most probably I'll be using Maven, but even I'm looking to go for Gradle depending on different people experience. So there are two approaches that I'll be working on depending on different kind of students I'll be having. And team, once we are done with that, so we'll be working with different kind of APIs. So we have different CRUD methods, CRUD methods. Okay, team, what are those? They are the get, post, put, delete. So team, they are one of the basic 4 methods that are out there in the APIs that we work with the APIs. So we'll be working with different query parameters, different path parameters. Okay, team, different cookies, headers, multiple things that you will be seeing in the manual testing as well. You'll be working all those things in the automation testing. So team, what we'll be doing is, first of all, we will be doing some manual testing through Postman, using Postman. Then we'll write the same test cases using REST assured. So it will be clear to you how can we just convert the manual test cases to the automated test cases. I think because I don't know if people are here who has done manual testing in API or not, but what I believe is that if someone has done manual testing in API, then for sure they would like to convert their test cases to the automated approach. Then team, after this, we'll be dealing with different status codes. So there are different series of codes that we'll be dealing with, like 200 series, 300, 400, 500. So there are different series that we'll be seeing in the coming sections. What are all different codes? So team, this is again an important question that you will be going through, that what are different status codes? People might be asking you questions that, can you let me know what's the difference between 401 and 403? What's the difference between 501 and 500? So different kinds of questions might be arising for you. So for this, even I'll be sharing my blog also. You can have a detailed readout over there. But again, I'll be explaining each and everything to you. Once we're talking about the APIs, we even need to work with different responses, or different request body. So team one, for instance, we could work with JSON responses, could work with XML responses. We might be working with some payload also. So you'll be hearing what exactly is payload. I won't be explaining right now. It might be confusing for you. Then some responses that we are storing separately in files. So team, these days we don't use Excel files anyhow to work with these APIs. We try to store each and every response into JSON formats. All those things will be done using the REST assured API testing. So team, over till here, am I clear? If you have any questions, please point out. You can just stop me.
No questions from my side.
Yeah, I have some questions. I think what and all tools you are teaching in this course. Okay, Pushpa. So I will be teaching Postman, SOAP UI, and REST assured. So these 3 tools will be taught. And we'll be even using some real-time APIs so that you could just relate to the real APIs. I'm even trying to go ahead and try to work out with Google APIs. So I'll let you know if I can take care of that. But most probably for sure, we'll be working with Jira APIs and some more APIs. So yeah, these are
So
all
will
free source
yeah,
tools.
will be given access to the APIs so that we can test, we can work from our end
Yeah,
also.
so yeah, so there are two kind of APIs. So Jira API is freely available for everyone.
Okay.
You can access it. I'll tell you how to access it. There's something called a Swagger, and I'll even show you how exactly whenever a project comes into real organization, what exact
Mhm.
documentation do we get? What exact things do we get? So we'll be demonstrating you each and everything.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So team, once we are doing with that, so we'll be creating a framework. So this thing is done, but actually, whenever we work with how do you say, whenever we work with something, we have to create some frameworks. So team, we'll be creating framework using the REST assured and TestNG. Along with Maven. So different frameworks will be used. At the end, we'll be printing out a report as well. So report will be shown to the user. Extend reports will be shown. So team, these all details were not there in the main course that I shared with you. So these are all details that I'm sharing with you right now because these will be things that you'll all be getting in the coming batch. And at the end, even team, I'll just show you how to send an email. How could you send the email to the users at the particular end when you're getting a report? So team, I'll just give you a small sneak peek. How does the whole structure will look like for you? Let me just demonstrate. So team, you see this is Cucumber file. So we have different Cucumber file out there. So given, when, then scenarios we are using. So Cucumber, we'll be using the Gherkin's language over here. That uses given, when, and then. So I'll be explaining what is Gherkin's language, what is Cucumber. So all those concepts will be explained to you in the coming sections. Over here, we'll be learning how to create a framework, end-to-end framework. And team, I think I missed one of the major concepts is that POJO classes. POJO classes and serialization and deserialization. Team, this is one of the major concepts that we'll have to go through while learning the REST assured API testing. We'll be learning all the basic concepts and all the major concepts that are required to work with these things. And team, in order to work with these, we should have some Java basic knowledge. So team, I'll be even giving the Java basic knowledge that's required to work with this thing. Basically, we'll be having to work with hash maps. So I will be covering some team basic concepts like, let's say, the encapsulation concept, the OOPS concepts, collections, and some inheritance concepts, and some more major concepts I'll be covering in the coming section for Java. So all those things that are required for covering these things, I'll be telling you all the basics of it. So team, don't fear. Right now, if you don't know Java also, I'll be giving you all the basic knowledge that is required in order to start the thing. And if you need some additional classes for me for Java, I can even arrange that for you. No problem on that. Because the knowledge that we require for API testing and for Java, the Java knowledge that we require for API testing is very minimal. You don't need team, that's, I think that's all that we'll be doing. And at the very end, team, what I'll be telling you is how can we push all the code to Git repository. Once the code is pushed, then how can we execute the same through Jenkins? So Jenkins is a CI/CD tool, right? So team, I'll be telling you how can we create a simple pipeline and execute our test cases directly from the Jenkins rather than opening Eclipse and executing our test cases. I'll be showing you how can we execute the test cases directly from Jenkins itself. So I think team, that's all I think I had to cover over here. So yeah, team, I think that's all I was. So this API different between API, SOAP API, API testing. So yeah, team, I think I have covered most of the concepts over here that was required in the section. So team, the main giveaways that you'll be getting over here. So team, basically what will be happening, so we'll be sharing some interview questions at the end. Interview questions will be given. Mock interviews will be conducted. Okay, team. And even team, some resume preparation will be given. So there's some sample resumes will be shared, and even we could edit your resumes to help you out to get some jobs out there. Team, these were things that you will be getting, and along with that, you will be getting the recordings of the session. So if by chance you miss the record, if you miss the session, so we'll be giving you the recording on daily basis, so you can have a look at it. So all these things will be available to you. Recordings are available with you for 1 year, so you can have access to them for 1 year. So team, I think that's all from my side that I had to explain for this demo. But yeah, right now I'm open to questions. So let me know if you have any questions for me, team.
Yeah, TJ, I have overall experience of around 6 years. So how much helpful this course is going to be for me?
A lot. Just do one thing. Just normally go on Google or LinkedIn. Just search REST API or just search API testing. You will see multiple openings these days of API testing. So people are asking. So do you know Selenium UI testing? Do you have any idea about that?
Yeah, I'm already doing automation testing using Selenium only.
Okay, perfect. But if you want to switch now whenever you'll be trying to switch, just search for new jobs, and you'll be seeing in the JD that they are asking that Selenium is required, and in addition, they will be requiring API testing too. So as I mentioned in the very starting, they are looking for a person who's having different skill sets, not only one skill set these days. So what I believe is that it's very helpful. That would be very easily useful by you because they are looking for persons. So team, I'll tell you one thing. I don't know if they will be giving you some work in the organization or not on the API testing, but in the JD or in order to crack the interviews also, you should have these knowledge. If you have some knowledge, then only you could crack some interviews these days. And once you crack the interview, and if you get by chance the work on API, then this thing would be helpful for you because we'll be doing the real-time APIs. We'll be working with the real-time experience over here.
Yeah, thanks. What would be the duration and the schedule for these classes? Can you brief a bit about
After this, if you could all just do me a favor, I'll just do me a favor right now, please. I'll just share a sheet with you because if you just access the chat box right now, I've shared a Google sheet over there. Okay, team, so just fill out this Google sheet. I'll be reaching you out after this session. And so I'll just give you a brief right now. So team, this is basically a 30+ hour course that we'll be doing over here. So we even have weekday batches and we even have weekend batches. So both the options are available. I'll be sending out a Google form to everyone after this session so that you can respond to me whichever session or whichever timing suits to you. And if you feel that you're not available during that timing and you need some other timings also, we can arrange a session for you. So Pushpa, everything will be sent out in the emails to you. Just do me, I'll just add one more field over there. They even mention a time zone over there. What exactly is a time zone? Are you from IST time zone or EST time zone? Just fill out details for me, please, over there. That would be helpful for me to arrange some sessions. But yeah, team, again, you are open to have discussion. If you want to feel like if you want to go ahead with a session, you can have a session continue in the coming days, like the weekday or the weekend batches, whichever you prefer. So on weekends, we'll be having like classes for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours a day. On weekdays, we'll be having classes 1 hour a day or 2 hours also we have batches. So it depends, whatever you are comfortable with, whenever you have some timing, you can join that particular batch. And team, do you feel anything that should be added to this particular course that could be added over here? Anything extra that you feel that should be added to this particular course that could be helpful for you? Okay, I'll take that the course is health sufficient. That would be good for you. So team, just please fill out the sheet. I'll be reaching you out. And if you feel that you want to join the batch, you can join the batch in the coming.
TJ, right now I'm not able to open the document. I'm having some connectivity issue. So can I fill it afterwards?
Yeah, sure. So I'll just even send out. Can you just type your chat email ID over in the chat box so that I can reach you out?
Sure, yeah.
And you're from IST time zone?
Yeah, I'm in India.
Okay.
Where is the seat link?
Sorry?
Where is the seat link where I need to update my time zone and email ID?
That's just check your chat box in the meeting or invite over. So in the meeting that I'm conducting right now, the chat box you could just see the thing. So that's Pushpa. I'll just fill out for Pushpa here. Pushpa is in CST time zone.
Can you please add my two?
Yeah, sure. Just ping me. Okay, things over.
Sure.
So I think still now I've not. So Hiru, sorry, what's your name exactly? Lido. Okay, got it. Priya, you have filled in. Shikha, what about you?
Actually, I'm not able to find the message link on. I'm taking the call from my mobile, so I was not able. My name is Sikha Jaiswal. I am from IST time zone, and my email ID is Sikha.
Okay, SHIK.
SHIKHA
Okay.
JAIS numeric 4 p@gmail.com.